What's going on, traders? Welcome back to the channel. I have some free time to do a video. There's a few things I want to talk about real quick, and I don't want to make the video too long because nobody watches videos that are too long anymore because they have zero attention span. Anyways, real quick, I did pass, like I said before, I passed the Bullnox, which is evaluation. I have the Masters. They call it Masters, they don't call it PAs or funded. It's weird. Anyways, Masters, I got it. I made a huge error. I emailed them on Friday saying that don't charge me for evaluation because I want to use that money towards the Masters or funded account. Long story short, I didn't specify which evaluation. As you remember, I had two, and they closed the one that I wanted to keep, and that was my fault. I should just specify like, hey, like this is this is the account that I'm talking about. So on Monday when I got on, I didn't have it anymore. So a bummer, kind of sucks, but I was only up, $500 or something like that on it, which is, no big deal, but would have been nice to keep that because that evaluation. Man, I can't talk today. That evaluation, it was about $18 a month, so I kind of wanted to keep that, but it is what it is, no big deal. But I did pass it, so the goal with this is probably just to trade it one contract and just kind of build it over time. I don't want to rush this, and so real quick, the two differences between Apex and Bullnox, right, in terms of payout. Apex, you gotta have on 25k account, you gotta have $1,600 in your PA account, right, to request the payout, right, and you can withdraw 1,000 or 500, right. You gotta have the minimum account has to be $25,100, right. That's the minimum you gotta have in there in terms of like requesting payout and stuff like that, right. Now Bullnox, right, you gotta have $26,600, right, and that's a safety net, and you gotta have 1,000 on top of that because you can only request the minimum is 1,000. all right, you cannot withdraw or request the payout if your account is at 26,600. It has to be at 27,600. So I hope that make that clear. Okay, Apex, you can have 26,600 and you can request payout either 1,000 or $500. okay, the Bullnox, you gotta have 27,600 and the minimum withdrawal is $1,000. okay, the account cannot go below 26,600 in order for you to request a withdrawal, right. So it's a safety net that they do. Kind of sucks, but I get it. I understand why. It's to protect you because things happen, you go on tilt and so on and so forth. You don't want to lose that account. You get my point. And also the difference between Apex and Bullnox is that Apex, you can only request withdrawals twice a month. The Bullnox, you can do it every week, and they do payouts on, I think, Wednesdays. You can request the payouts on Wednesdays or something like that. Anyways, you can do it every week, the whole point. Anyways, let's talk about the chart a little bit. There's some few things I want to talk about. So I have been trading my PA on Apex. I'm only about $500 up on that account, and there's a few things that I want to talk about this chart. And by the way, just a quick little note, I got rid of 2000 tick chart completely. As you can clearly see, I don't have 2000 tick chart. Real quick on that, in my opinion, 2000 tick chart is, I think, it's outdated, and I've had a person comment on my videos, he was right. I think he was absolutely right. He said something like, switching to like a 3k or maybe even 4k chart, but yeah, I think I have to agree with him. I think 2000 tick chart is outdated because Max is still using the system from 20 years ago, right? Yes, the system works, don't get me wrong. What he's teaching, it does work. I 100% agree with that. The 4 tick scalp and the 2000 tick chart, I don't think it's the right way to do it. Again, to each his own. If you like it, you don't like it, whatever. But I think it's just too busy. It's too busy. There's too much noise. There's too much going on. And I think maybe even going to 25 tick chart could help. I don't know. But I'm having a blast with these bars, and I'm pretty happy with them for now. And they might change. There's a few issues with this chart that I don't like. Not chart, but the bars. But for the most part, it's the strategy is exactly the same. And I also stopped watching Mac's chart replays, chart reviews. I actually stopped watching his chart reviews starting January. And the reason for that is, and again, I think it's a whole nother video, but long story short, he doesn't talk about some of the setups that are according to his rules, right? He'll just either skip over them, or he'll just say something like, oh, it's a congestion and you can't take that, or something else. So it's weird that he doesn't talk about the losers, because, you know, I think you should be able to talk about the losers. It's important. You know, setups don't work. It happens all the time. Even if it's according to the rules, they don't work. And I think he should talk about it. I think he should say those things. And funny enough, I actually was watching I had the 2000 tick chart last week, and I was watching one of the price action. There was a setup. I'm not gonna go back to that. I can't remember what it is, but I was like, and I saw it, and I was like, I wonder what he's gonna say about this setup. And he completely ignored it and he skipped it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's that. Anyways, let's move on. So yeah, so like I said, I'm having a blast trading these bars. Again, to me, there just makes more sense. It's more clear. However, there is problems with the bars. Number one is you gotta look out for congestion. It's not always obvious. Like to me, this right here, these two areas, this area, it's a congestion, and you gotta make sure when you see like a little, basically like a barcode happening, just know it's congestion. Especially when the main bodies of the candles are like overlapping like that. So pay attention to that. And the second thing that's it's kind of like almost like an annoyance more than anything, is sometimes when the price moves, I mean, you don't even have time to either react or place an order. So to combat that, you can use a stop limit order, right? Stop order. Basically just set it to where you want it at, and then you just forget it basically. But with stop orders, you gotta be 1000% sure that's the trade that you want to take, right? For example, this higher low, like if that's the trade that you want to take, yes, put a stop loss right there, because it'll tell you when the next bar is going to form. These green lines, it'll tell you when the next bar is going to form. So you can place a stop order right at that green line, because you know for a fact if the price moves up, it has to cross that green line in order for it to form a new bar, right? So yes, you can use that. So, but I don't really like using those too much, because you basically telling the market, hey, I'm guaranteeing to enter the market at this price, guaranteed. Whether limit order is a little bit more flexible, you can actually kind of watch what the price is doing, watch what the next bar is doing. But I want to talk about one of my favorite setups, and there's quite a few of them here. My favorite setups is lower high and higher low, and of course second entry. And the main thing you got to watch out for, let's talk about the lower highs first. These right here, the lower high has to form, for me personally, is right after the swing high, right? For example, you have a break here, new high. It's also a second entry short, by the way, because you have a new low, first entry, second entry short, and lower high after second entry. And it's also a quote unquote triple test, right? I just see it's a double top. But you gotta understand what the lower high or higher lows are doing. Basically, don't just trade it as a pattern, trade it as in like understanding what it means. Basically what it's saying is, hey, like in this case it's a lower high. It's saying that the buyers are pretty much exhausted and the sellers are coming into the play, right? It's a lot more clear on a regular candle, right? Because you'll see you have like a big wick and a small little body. That just means it's telling you like, hey, like the sellers are coming in, buyers are giving up, and it's basically exhaustion, right? So understand that. Once you understand that, it's good. Same thing, and the same thing with higher lows, right? You have a break new low already in place. You have a higher low. Again, this channel has played out, meaning that the sellers are pretty much, I don't want to say done, but because there's always a chance that they might come back up, down. But it's basically what it's telling you is we might have a correction. In this case, the buyers have given up or exhausted. Oh, I'm sorry, the sellers are exhausted and the buyers are coming into play. So understand that. Same thing here. Buyers are done and you have sellers coming in below the VWAP. Oh, by the way, I don't think I mentioned this. The blue line's VWAP. That's a hard word. VWAP. Jesus. I added there to kind of like a reference to what the price is at in terms of like, you know, downtrend or uptrend or whatever. And sometimes I like to take trades off the well, I don't want to say sometimes I take trades off the VWAP because I just added this, but I've seen people trade off the VWAP, and yeah, some great opportunities. So I added to the chart again, just giving you a reference point in terms of like uptrend, downtrend, things like that, sideways action. But yeah, again, back to my whole point. Again, understand what the lower highs, higher lows is. Again, this is another good example. Again, ideally I like to be a little bit more closer to recent high, but I think, you know, it was 5 candles, 1 2 3 4 5, yeah, 5 candles I think is okay. The only problem is again the VWAP here, so it can be a little bit concerning, but overall love the setups. My favorite, by far my favorite setups to take. And of course the second entry. Now this particular setup that I took a point here, point and a half actually. Again, at the time you would not have this channel, you probably have something like this, and honestly speaking you probably should have something like this. I think I had it like this at first, because Mac always says in order for it to consider a trend it has to be, you know, 3 consecutive bars, whether it's bearish or bullish. In this case obviously it's bearish, 1 2 3, so it's trend forming, and you have a break. It's a small break, it's convincing, kind of like close outside. I don't know if I liked it, but it is a break. You have a new low, and I wasn't trying to take this short or even the second entry, because it is a second entry, because you have new low, first entry, second entry. The problem with this is, again, you have a break new low already in place and it didn't close. Like, for me, that's not convincing. I don't like when price closes like this at the EMA and Trend Magic. I don't like that. Yes, it worked, but I don't know. For me, I need a strong close below the EMA, below the Trend Magic. Like here, definitely love this, and then I'll talk about this in a minute. But I need a clear close. Like this, to me, is not convincing, so I don't take it. There's a lower high here, but it's in the wrong spot. And you have here, this is basically a failure. Now, again, I only took a point and a half because I'm going short into the support here. And you can clearly see the support here. And I don't want to go crazy, like, because I don't know if the price is going to do this. I have no idea. I have no clue. I just got my point and a half and I was out of the trade and I was done for the day. Now this trade right here, I really like these trades because it's a basic pullback. It is a first entry, but what I see is basically a pullback to the EMA and Trend Magic. But you see it's a strong close below the EMA and below Trend Magic. Same thing here. There's actually a second entry right here, but a higher low here. I really like those setups. It's a really simple basic pullback. Here again we have a pullback, but I don't like how it closed above the Trend Magic. I want to close just like this, both close below the Trend Magic and below the EMA. That's what I'm looking for. Again, I don't like taking this. Let's see if I can find more. This one, it's kind of pushing it because it's too much of a wick. Maybe even this one right here. Again, it's too much of a wick in the upper of the candle. But you get my point, I hope. But even this lower high right here, but yeah, I like to see a clear close. This actually would have been a loser right here, but you wouldn't take this trade because why? Because you have a break new low already in place, you're not looking to go short. But you get my point, right? So anyways, so those are my favorite setups. Again, this would have confirmed the trend line. Again, you wouldn't have this at the time, but this definitely confirms it, so even more, you know, reasons to take it. Again, I just trade it as a pullback, or I see it as a pullback, but that's how I usually trade this setup. And yeah, like I said, the only thing that I'm kind of concerned is how the price action moves. Now you can move, or not move, you can increase the bar size, but if you're increasing the bar size, you're increasing your risk, and I'm not comfortable with increasing my risk. 3 points, maybe 3 1/4 is my max. That's it. Anything above that, I'm not taking it. I don't care how good the setup looks, because that one time you do take that trade and it will work against you, right? Just remember that. One time you break that rule and it will go against you, and you get stopped out and you lose 4 or whatever points, right? So I don't like that. 3 points, 3 1/4 is my max. I'm done with it. So if you want to increase the bar size, you gotta increase your risk. But that's how generally I trade. I'm gonna try to get more live trades either tomorrow or the next week. But like I said, I don't really have time to do the videos. It's the editing, all that stuff, and it's whatever. Anyways, it's a whole thing. It's a process. But anyways, I hope you find this video useful. If you do, you know, give me a thumbs up. Comment down below what you think about this. Comment if you actually tried this. Again, I'm having a blast trading them. I don't know about you, but yeah, it is what it is. But anyways, questions, comments, concerns, comment down below. But that's it for me. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.